All right. Hey, YouTubers. So let me know if my microphone is scratchy. It was cutting in and out or whatever on Discord, but who knows? So for YouTube folks, how the sound is doing, let me know. I'm going to start TikTok too now since this took forever. Sorry today. Everything got slowed down with the Discord as being evil. All right. TikTok is live. Excellent. All right. Hopefully, YouTube, you can even hear me. Sounds good. Okay, that's good at least. Okay. And hey, TikTokers. All right. Woo woo. I am here with the new time and the sun, and oh my God, it's like super bright because of the sunlight now that the time changed in America. So our time is now um, uh, an hour. I don't even know, an hour later, an hour earlier. I don't even know. All I know is the time is different. So now it confuses me. It confuses everybody, but it means the sun's coming in, which is great, but bad because it means, like, for our purposes, we have a lot of sunlight coming, which I'm not a fan of. Oh, hey, Kara. Thank you for subscribing. Excuse me. That was very sweet of you. Up, adjusting my camera. All right. We are good. Exactly. Or spring ahead, fall behind is the way I always learned it. But yes, our time just changed in America. It's funny. I can tell TikTok is going a little slow tonight. It probably is in part because of that. Hey, David in Slovakia. Anyway, so welcome all. I'll have a sip of water. Thank you, Christina, for subscribing. Oh, I do like this shirt. Yeah, this is one of my dad's shirts. I found it a few years ago, and I was like, oh, I like this because it's not quite dad, but a little bit. Thank you, Smug. Appreciate it. On TikTok, on YouTube. Anyway, so welcome all. Thank you, Hannah. So I'm John Aravosis. Welcome, guys. Thank you, Norway, for the cool gift on TikTok. I cover this show. We do it Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, U.S. Actually, Discord, I'm going to have to change the crazy shows because it didn't get the time change, so now it thinks the show's at 7. Sorry. But in any case, I do the show Monday to Friday, and I cover the latest news from Washington and also the latest news from Ukraine. Obviously, some of it overlaps. Let's start with the Washington news. So the U.S. economy is getting really screwed up. This is not good. So the stock market crashed today. It didn't crash, but it had a little mini crash. S&P 500 are down 2.7% today. Those are the biggest companies in America. The biggest 500 companies in America dropped 2.7% on the stock market today. That is not good. A big part of the reason, the economic situation is getting very, very bad in our country very quickly. People are realizing it. People are worried. Businesses are worried. I'm going to go through sort of the read through of this. And what really freaked people out today, which is why I think the market crashed, had a mini crash today. Trump admitted it last night and then again today. This is not good. So what happened was Trump was asked on Air Force One last night about the possibility of a recession. And he basically said, yeah, he thinks there might be a recession this year. He then got asked about it again on Fox News. And on Fox News, Maria Bartiromo, who's one of their big financial people, really big Trumper. I mean, she's a super big Trump supporter. And he asks Maria Bartiromo and says, or she asks him and says, do you think there's the chance of a stock market of a recession in the economy this year? And his answer, he says, he was asked about rising worries about a slowdown, meaning a recession, economic slowdown. He described what might follow as a period of transition. I've got the whole tape. He basically said, well, we're going to probably have a period of transition this year. Basically, he admitted that we were going to have a recession. He thinks it's going to be this year. That freaked the market out entirely. The market has already been worried about a recession. Businesses have already been worried about a recession. Businesses in the market are already worried about inflation coming from Trump's tariffs. The recession concerns come in part from the tariffs, basically killing trade back and forth, but also from Trump's budget cuts. Elon Musk said today he's still hoping to cut $1 trillion from the U.S. budget this year. That would be 15%, 16% of the U.S. budget. You can't cut 16% of all federal spending without sending the economy into a severe recession. I mean, literally, it sucks 16% of the government money out of the economy. That causes the economy to go down. I could go into more. I'm not going to go into too much of the explanation here. This is really bad. Mods, just get rid of her. I'm in no mood for this today. Janine, you're leaving us today. Come back tomorrow. Maybe you'll be in a more polite mood. And the answer is no, Janine. I'm just beautifully Greek. We look this way, unlike our wonderful vice president, who seems to wear looks like his eyes are a little fabulous. But in any case, thank you, mods. So this is bad. So Trump said basically, yes, he thinks there will be a recession this year. He described it as a period of transition on the way to all the wonderful things he has to do. This really shocked me. I actually didn't pick this up at first. And somebody brought this up, which I thought was fascinating. We'll close the curtains tomorrow, guys. It's too late today. Somebody in the comments on TikTok said, you realize he's blaming himself and he's not blaming Joe Biden for the upcoming recession, which I thought was fascinating. Thank you for the gifts on TikTok, by the way, guys. Keep the gifts coming. Remember, I do this for a living and your gifts pay the bills. So thank you as I adjust my hair. But Trump blames Biden for everything. The fact that Trump says, A, we should expect a recession soon. And Trump says, B, it's not Biden's fault. It's my fault because it's the stuff I'm doing as a period of transition to better things for America. That kind of shocked me. What also kind of shocked me, Arctic Legacy had sent me two articles the other day, and I didn't share them with you guys because I read them and I was like, okay, nice theory, but I don't share, I don't want to say conspiracy theories, but I don't share stuff with you guys. Excuse me. I still have that chest thing. I'm over this little chest cold I got in Europe, but it's funny. It kind of lingers. I don't share things with you guys just because they're bad for Trump. And the theory was, and I didn't share this, but now I'm kind of wondering because he kind of admitted it. The theory was that Trump was intentionally trying to sink the economy. And I'm forgetting why. Somehow it was going to help him move forward with everything he's trying to do. What's weird is that Trump just said yesterday and the day before that the reason we're going to go into a recession this year, he believes, is because it's a necessary period of transition towards doing the things he wants to do. I'm telling you, this is just on so many levels. I mean, I've got more information to give you about the economy. Actually, let me give you the more information on the economy first, and then we'll keep going, right? The S&P 500 is down 9% below a record set last month. It is approaching correction territory, which is a 10% drop. The sell-off came as the Canadian province of Ontario put in place retaliatory surcharges on energy it exports to Michigan, Minnesota, and New York. I read the other day it's power that the Canadians provide to 1.5 million Americans in those states. Trump's trade war with China also intensified, with Beijing responding to his tariffs by imposing new levies on American farm products, new taxes on American farm products. So the trade situation is going to caca fast. The Chinese have said, forget it. You want a trade war? We're going to have a trade war. So the Chinese just decimated American agriculture, trade with huge tariffs. The Canadians said, you know what? We give our energy to you guys. We sell it to you. We're now going to raise, and I think the Canadians were talking about, I think like a 25% tariff and then a 50% tariff in a few weeks. So the electricity prices just went up 25% basically for Americans in the northern US. This is very bad. Now, here's a little more about what's going on with the stocks. Tesla, you're going to like this one. Tesla shares plunged 15% today. 15% Tesla shares plunged. This was according to, I think, New York Times, adding to a losing streak that's come as investors assess falling sales and worry that the company's chief executive, Elon Musk, has been distracted by his role in the Trump administration. Shares of Alphabet, which is Google, Apple, and NVIDIA, each tumbled more than 4%. That's very bad. Delta Airlines, one of our big airlines here in America, cut its financial forecast for the first 3 months of the year in half. Saying in a financial filing that economic uncertainty had weakened confidence among businesses and consumers. The economic uncertainty is being caused by Trump's policies. The airline still expects revenue to rise by at least 3% compared to last year, but they were expecting 7%. The problem here is Delta is a large American company. If Delta now is thinking it's going to lose half of its profits this year, half of its growth, that's, guys, half of its revenue. Half of its revenue growth, not half of its revenue. It's going to lose half of the revenue growth. They thought revenue was going to grow 7%. It's now going to grow only 3%. That's not cool. That's a lot of money. And it means a lot of other American companies are in the same boat. And guess what happens when American companies don't make as much money as they planned on making? They look at cutbacks. That's not good. Listen to this. Analysts at Goldman Sachs have downgraded their forecast for U.S. economic growth this year to 1.7% from 2.4% a few months ago. Now, 2.4% would be Joe Biden, 1.7% for Trump. That's a 0.7% difference on 2.4. I'm going to go 33%, maybe 32%, 30%. Alexa, what is 0.7 divided by 2.4? 0.7 It's 30%. So that's a 30% drop in U.S. economic growth because of what Trump is doing right now. Guys, U.S. economic growth is dropping 30% from where it would have been because of what Trump is doing. That's what Goldman Sachs said today. Our trade policy assumptions have become considerably more adverse, chief economist said on Monday, stressing that tariff-induced concerns prompted the revision, not recent. Oh, listen to this. The chief economist of Goldman Sachs said today that tariff-induced concerns prompted the revision of U.S. economic growth downward, not recent economic data. So he's saying it wasn't the economy overall. It wasn't the economy Donald Trump inherited from Joe Biden. It was Donald Trump's trade policies that have now killed 3% of the 30%, of the expected growth in the U.S. economy. Guys, this is, it's boggling my mind because if Donald Trump can get away with this will boggle my mind. He was elected because of the economy. Now, a lot of us were saying the economy was doing great. People didn't believe us. Okay, you got somebody else now. Well, now we've got inflation threatening to go through the roof. We've got economic growth threatening to go down. We've got a recession now possibly happening later this year, according to Donald Trump himself. Under Joe Biden, we did not have a recession coming. We did not have economic growth going down. We didn't. We simply did not. Inflation was coming down. Inflation was still around 3% under Biden, but it was coming down. Jobs growth was very good. As Waiting on Time just said, this is stagflation we're looking at now, which is when the economy goes down, when employment goes down, unemployment goes up, and inflation goes up at the same time, which should not be happening. It's a huge problem because here's the other thing. And I don't want to get, sometimes I don't want to get into too much of the detail because I worry, thank you, adventurers. I don't know how much you guys are into economics or care about it. So sometimes I may over-explain. Tell me if I do. But stagflation is a real problem because if unemployment's going up and the economy is doing more poorly, growth is bad. Typically, when growth is bad, you want to lower interest rates. Lowering interest rates puts more money in the economy, puts more money in your pocket even, right? If you're paying for your car or you're paying a loan and your interest rates go down, your payments are less each month. So you've got more money. You're richer. You can spend more money on food or whatever, right? So typically, when a recession happens, you want to lower interest rates to give more money to people, to give more money to businesses. The problem is, when you lower interest rates, you risk inflation. Typically, when things are inflationary, when there's inflation, you raise interest rates. The problem is, later this year, we're looking at the potential for the economy going down, meaning interest rates have to be lowered to perk up the economy, but inflation going up because of tariffs. If inflation goes up and you lower interest rates, inflation goes up even more. So interest rates we think are going to go up. Inflation we think is going to go up. Economic growth we think is going to go down. You need two different things to fix that. You need higher interest rates and lower interest rates to fix both of those. You can't have both. If you have lower interest rates, inflation will go crazy. If you have higher interest rates to stop inflation, the economy will do even worse. The recession will be even worse. That's the problem with stagflation. What Trump has created is an economic crisis. I want to say this is what we had in the 1970s under Jimmy Carter, right? I think it was under Carter that we had stagflation for a while. And it's, as I said, a difficult thing to fight because the solution with interest rates is to raise them and lower them, and you can't do both. And whichever one you do will make the other one worse. you get it. I don't want to repeat this too much, but I do think it's important, especially because of the economic situation we're looking at. Okay. Zeal says, understand it. Okay, good. Well, again, I think it's interesting stuff. I don't think it's that complicated, but I studied like international trade and stuff in graduate. I didn't study it long time, but I studied it for a year in graduate school, with other classes. So it's very interesting stuff because it's important for fixing the problem, right? Anyway, as I said, this is the big problem with interest rates. I'll say this one more time and then let it go. Inflation goes up, you need to raise interest rates to get rid of inflation. A recession comes, you need to lower interest rates to get rid of the recession. If you have inflation and a recession at the same time, which looks like what we're getting possibly later this year, you need to raise interest rates and lower them. And whatever you do will make the other problem worse. It's very bad. Anyway, oh my God. All right. Can we impeach because of this? No, because Republicans control the Congress and they won't impeach Trump. All right. A little bit more here. Elon was having some outages today on Twitter of his service. He blamed cyber warriors from near Ukraine. The article I read was very funny. It said Elon offered no proof, and Elon has done this before whenever he has problems with Twitter and his service doesn't work right, and he gets embarrassed because he has a big online chat with somebody famous. He always blames hackers and then never produces the evidence. So it's like, okay, Elon, yes. Is the hacker in the room with us right now, Elon? A little bit more here. Let's move on. Actually, you know what I'll do? Let me maybe take a question or two or comment on what we've just talked about, and then we'll move on and talk about Ukraine. Okay? Because I'll move on to do Ukraine next. The way the show works, if anybody's new on YouTube or Discord or TikTok, we sort of go through the news of the day in America, the Trump news, the big American news, and then we talk about the Ukraine news because I've been covering that for a couple of years now, and then we just have kind of a free for all, whatever you want to talk about, whatever questions, whatever. But we can talk a second right now about the stuff I just talked about if you want. Depression coming. Don't know about a depression, but a recession, it looks like it. Okay. This is actually an interesting question. It's not a political question, but the investment question is interesting. I'm not going to give you investment advice. But Danny says, should I stop adding to my 401k? For the foreigners out there, your 401k is one of the retirement vehicles that Americans have to invest in the market. I will tell you this. I can't tell you because who knows? And that's the advice I'm often given by friends of mine who've made a lot more money than me is we don't know what's going to happen with the market. We don't know if stocks are going up. We don't know if stocks are going down. So typically what research shows is typically people who try to guess when the market's going up, because think about this, you'd have to guess right now, well, I think the market's going to be having a problem. I'm going to take my money out of the stock market, right? But you also have to guess when to put the money back in. And what they find is most people guess wrong. They take the money out at the wrong time and they put the money in at the wrong time, and it ends up not being worth it. The problem is I'm like you, and it scares the hell out of me because I look at my money, I look at my retirement, and I go, you know what? My retirement is finally at a decent level. Like it's decent right now, but it scares me because I'm like, well, right? Do you take the money out? Do you leave it? It's very scary stuff. So I can't give you the answer. One of the other issues, anyway, it's, and people are giving you different answers on TikTok anyway. Some people are saying, well, anyway, bottom line is it's hard to know when the market is going down and when it's going up, the other issue, as Luna just said, a lot of times, and I'll stop with this because, this isn't a financial advice show, but a lot of times if you're in the market for the long haul, you're young, you've invested in your retirement, and literally your retirement isn't happening for 20 or 30 years, you don't really care what happens in the next year because you don't have to take the money out for 20 or 30 years. I mean, in 20 to 30 years, the economy will be totally different than it is right now. Historically, in 20 to 30 years, the economy will be better. The stock market will be stronger than it is today. Historically, that's what happens. So typically, people talk about the fact that people who have 20 or 30 years or more, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, and you won't need to touch the money. They often say, leave it and stop worrying about what happens year to year. Because it's true. People like me that are older with my gray hair, I've got to worry a little bit more. Anyway, let's not talk about that anymore. Anyway, it's much more complicated if you're widowed, retired, or 57. Exactly. It's a much more complicated discussion. Again, I don't want to be giving it. I don't want to give investment advice because that's not what I do for a living, even though I know a lot about it. And it really depends on your situation. I mean, a lot of it depends. How much money do you have? How much money do you have in the market? How much can you afford? If the market goes, I will say this, if the market goes down, stock market, can you wait to take money out? In other words, you don't really want to sell things at a loss. Can you wait 5 years? Can you wait 10 years to sell those stocks so they come back? If not, then maybe you need to have more money that's liquid. Money in CDs that you could access that don't go down. It depends. You really need to sort of talk to somebody who can give you more direct personal financial advice. Anyway, all right, let's keep going here. So let's switch and talk about, but Tesla is actually, I want to see the latest here. Hold on. I want to see the latest on Tesla. How much did, oops. Let me see if I can, how much did Tesla stock, was it just 15%? I want to see how much Tesla stock went down today. It's at 15%. It's funny. I used to own Tesla stock actually, but before he was crazy. And I finally was like, I even before the Trump stuff, it was, like a year or two ago. And I remember finally getting to the point where just watching the stuff that Elon was doing on Twitter was so crazy to me that I said, you know what? This guy is not spending enough time with his companies. I don't trust him. I think he acts a little crazy when I follow his tweets and his public statements. I'm not convinced somebody like this can run a company. And I sold my Tesla shares and, it did better afterwards and now it's doing worse. But oh my God, down 15% today. Woo! 15.43%. And that's after hours, it's down another 1.5%. Woo! Wow. That's not good. 1 month, 1 month, it's down 36%. Whew. Tesla shares have lost a third of their, they've lost a third of their, here, I'll show you guys. They've lost a third of their value in the last month. Wow. That's crazy. Oh my God. 36% in 1 month. Woo, man. I mean, again, I have no sympathy for that guy. The company actually been very interesting. There's some articles in the last couple of days. There's been a lot of vandalism against, or whatever you want to call it, against Tesla in the US. People have been blowing up or setting on fire the electrical connector things, where the battery plugins you've got. They've been vandalizing some of the Tesla factories or whatever. It's been very interesting, but it's happening like all over the country. Who knows, but it doesn't look like it's coordinated. It looks like people are just really pissed off. In Germany too. Oh, Zerpachi says in Germany, they're damaging actual Teslas. Oh, wow. Wow. The charging stations I knew about, even in Europe too. Since Anita Bryant of the 1970s, I can't think of anyone who has so self-destroyed a brand. And honestly, Anita Bryant was like one lady. I can't think, I'd have to think of a company that in recent memory has done something this bad to destroy itself. I mean, Tesla, honestly, I told you guys before, I test drove a Tesla 10 years ago. I loved it. I mean, I really did. It was fascinating. It was, any electric car will be this way, but it was quiet, which was the first. Anita Bryant, Jens. You have to Google her. My Pillow, yeah, My Pillow as well, although Tesla's bigger. Papa John's, maybe. Tesla, but I'll bet you Tesla's bigger than Papa John's. What was I going to say? Sorry. I always do this where I start talking about something and then I look at, I was saying Tesla, the brand, excuse me. I can't think now. I can't think. Anyway, I know Anita, we got to talk about Anita Bryant now, but yeah, the Tesla stuff fascinates me about just, I know it was that I test drove a Tesla. I loved it. It was quiet. It was cool. They had like a big iPad display. The cameras, it was so much fun. And I thought, it was like, again, $60,000 to $100,000. So I was like, I'm never buying one of these. But it was very cool. You wouldn't catch me dead in a Tesla now. No, there's no way in hell. I'm so so horrified by this man. Horrified is even the wrong word, right? But there's no way I'd be caught dead in a Tesla. I'd be embarrassed. I mean, I'd be mortally embarrassed to be in a Tesla. That's the thing. It would be like wearing a bumper sticker, right? That said, I believe in bad people. I believe in authoritarianism or fascism or whatever. It would just, I would feel horrible being seen in a Tesla, you know? And I have a hard time thinking of brands. I mean, maybe if I were wearing like, a, a bear skin with the head, or a lion skin with the head still on over me, maybe that would make me feel just as bad, right? I mean, he has so destroyed the brand. Uh, He's not getting it back. I mean, literally, he would have to have a come to Jesus for them to get. I don't know how they get this brand back. That's the interesting thing too. And by the way, who buys the really funny thing is, who buys electric vehicles? Now, actually, tell me something, you guys who are in Europe or any of the other countries that aren't America. In the US, and I'm going to go on a limb here, but I think I'm right. Typically, you would think of the premier person, the prime person who would buy an electric vehicle would typically be a liberal. It would typically be somebody on the political left. Doesn't have to be. But people on the left more than people on the right, because in my country, at least, people on the left are more, as Scott just said, environmentally conscious, right? So typically you'd see somebody more often on the left than the right, I think, right? These are the very people who Tesla has destroyed its image with. Now, is that the same thing abroad? I mean, I don't know whether the environmental politics plays the same way in Europe or Asia or Africa or Latin America as it does in the States, where it tends to be more left than right. Same in Poland, you were saying. But is it kind of the same? Oh, Germany and so, okay. So, but my point here is, my point isn't just that Elon has ruined Tesla's reputation. It's that the very people who are Tesla buyers tend to be the very people Elon has alienated. If Elon has only alienated half the population, you might say, well, he's got the other half to buy Teslas. No, he's alienated the half of the population that buys Teslas. It's the left that buys Teslas. It's the environmentally conscious people who buy Teslas. They're the ones who are pissed off at Elon now, who think Tesla's shit, right? That's what's so fascinating about it, is that it's an even greater impact. I mean, who knows what percent of the traditional Tesla buyers are now turned off? It's a much higher percentage than it looks. I mean, the irony is Trump. Remember Trump? Trump literally criticizes electric vehicles. I mean, Trump doesn't like electric vehicles at all, right? So Trump isn't going to convince people to buy Teslas. He's attached himself to Elon because Elon's got money. Which is, ironically, Trump is using, people say Elon bought the presidency. Trump bought Elon in a way, or Elon bought himself, right? Trump wants Elon for the money, it's very interesting. Anyway, thank you, Foodie. All right, let's move on with Ukraine. It is day 1,109 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation in Ukraine. Do keep the gifts coming, guys. I do this for a living. Your gifts pay the bills. Subscriptions are good too, but even just the gifts you do on TikTok and YouTube. Also on TikTok, I always forget, hit that subscribe button. If you like what I do, follow me. I do typically 1 or 2 videos a day, sometimes a few more, about what's going on in U.S. politics. Thank you, Darian, and thank you, Tarad, for the very cool dragon crown. What else? Oh, TikTok also likes it when you do that thing at the top there, that little heart thing. It helps to juice the returns I get for this a little bit, I guess, but whatever. In any case, so if you guys can help out, I appreciate it. All right, let's talk a little bit about Ukraine. So there was some concern in the last couple of days about the Russians possibly circling the Ukrainians in the Kursk region. Now, the Kursk region is a Russian region that the Ukrainians invaded and took over part of it, something like 500 square miles or something. Actually, I should look at the number exactly. I've got the number here. 500 square miles, 1,300 square kilometers. The Ukrainians took over. They now still control 300 square. Oh, they now control 300 square kilometers. So basically, they control a lot less than they did, because that's 15%. That's 20%. They control about 20% of what they did control. That's not good. There was reports this weekend that the Russians were taking the land back. They were circling Ukrainian troops. Then we saw reports that might not be the case. The Ukrainians came out today and said, no, they haven't circled us. Preston Stewart also did some reporting showing that the Russians were like coming through little tunnels or something and popping up. and the Ukrainians knew about it and were decimating them. You know, oh my God, I'm forgetting. I'm tired. You know, the little munitions that come down. I was gonna say carpet bomb, not carpet bombs, but you know what I mean. The little munitions that come down. No, the many little ones that drop all at once. The 100 bomblets, cluster bombs. Annette got it. Cluster bombs. They've been hitting. There was some video of cluster bombs where they literally just blanket the area where these tunnels are coming out. The Russians got it. Was bad. Bad for the Russians. Zelensky. So Zelensky has now publicly apologized to Trump. He wrote Trump a letter of apology for doing absolutely nothing. Zelensky has no reason to apologize. But as you'll recall, in the at the White House 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, Trump. I still think it was a setup. Trump and JD Vance basically wanted to have a public fight with Zelensky. They did. They kicked him out of the White House. They didn't sign the mineral deal. I think there's a number of reasons for this. I think, first of all, Trump wanted a better deal. He wanted more minerals. He wanted a greater percentage of Ukraine's minerals that were basically, extorting out of Ukraine. And he figured, I'm going to freak Ukraine out, kick them out, and then he cut off. Well, I think he'd already cut off U.S. aid. I don't remember if he had already cut off U.S. aid at this point, but you cut off U.S. aid, you cut off U.S. intelligence, and make the Ukrainians freak out and get even more money from them. So I think that's the first thing Trump did. Second of all, J.D. Vance wanted to be a big boy. J.D. Vance isn't a big boy yet. The whole couch thing and everything else, right? So Vance needed a moment to look like the tough guy. That was part of what was going on. Third, Russia, they were doing Russia's bidding. Russia was happy that Trump did this. Did Russia ask Trump to do this? I'll let you decide, right? We all know Trump is very obeisant to Russia. He obeys them a lot. So there's a lot of reasons Trump could have done this to make Russia happy. He claimed he was doing it to bring Ukraine to the negotiating table, which is just BS because Ukraine was already at the negotiating table. It's incredible. In any case, so Zelensky gave a letter to Trump today apologizing, whatever. Zelensky is in Saudi Arabia today, or was, I guess. Saudi Arabia is probably ahead of us, I'm going to guess, or behind. No, they're ahead of us, right? Everything's ahead of us. Even Asia's ahead of us. So yes, he was in Saudi Arabia today. The Saudis are hosting talks about the war. He was meeting with the American delegation today. Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, said today that, Ukraine's going to have to make some hard concessions, and then came right out and said Ukraine has to give up land to Russia for peace. What's interesting to me is we've now had the Trump administration cut off military aid to Ukraine to force them to negotiate. We've had the Trump administration cut off intelligence to Ukraine, military intelligence to force them to negotiate. We've had the Trump administration unilaterally concede that Ukraine will give up land. We've had the Trump administration unilaterally concede that Ukraine won't get any land back. We've had the Trump administration unilaterally concede that U.S. peacekeepers will not be part of the peacekeeping forces after the war. Thank you, Lori. We've had the U.S. unilaterally concede via Trump again and his minions that the U.S. will not put any security guarantees to help the situation, to basically protect European troops that are providing security for the Ukrainians after the war. Trump has in politics, we call this negotiating with yourself. It's when literally there's a negotiation coming up and the other guy, the bad guy, has said nothing, right? Russia hasn't said anything. They're not negotiating. They're not making offers. They're not even making demands. And you keep going, well, okay, I'll give you this. And then you go, I won't send troops to Ukraine. I won't give security guarantees to Ukraine. I won't. What else did he say? I'm forgetting all the other stuff I was telling you. Oh, I'll cut off all military aid to Ukraine. Okay, well then I'll also cut off all intelligence aid to Ukraine. And the Russians are sitting there going, and Trump has now made 4 concessions to the Russians, right? Why would the Trump administration concede unilaterally to the Russians and say Ukraine needs to give back, Ukraine needs to lose land to the Russians? Why would you do that? Why would you give it up before even negotiating, right? I mean, why would you do? That's not the way you negotiate. That's the way, I mean, honestly, what's really dangerous here is, Trump is the middleman, but he's not the middleman. He's Russia. I mean, thank you, Tap, for the gift, and thank you, Stan, as well. Trump, if anything, is representing Russians' interests. He's not representing Ukraine's interest, and he's not representing the middleman's interests. I mean, Switzerland might represent the middleman's interest. I don't know, but Trump doesn't. So the idea that Trump is somehow negotiating for Ukraine, thank you, Big Hawk, but at the same time making all of these unilateral concessions for Ukraine, it's mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling. What else we got here? Thank you for the gift there, Elizabeth. Oh, this is funny. So Rubio claimed today, as did Trump, we never cut off intelligence to Ukraine. We never cut off U.S. intelligence. Of course they did. We all know they did. Rubio claimed they did. Trump, my favorite is Rubio claimed they didn't stop sharing intelligence. Trump then claimed, oh, we turned the intelligence back on. Well, how did you turn the intelligence back on, Trump said today, if you didn't turn it off? I mean, right? Like, okay, whatever. The Ukrainians came out and said, yeah, some of the intelligence is back on, but not all of it. This is from Sky News, a senior Ukrainian advisor reportedly blamed the White House for Russia's rapid advances in Kursk over the weekend. Sky News Ukraine producer cites a Ukrainian source with knowledge of the situation, saying the U.S. has continued to share intelligence with Kyiv about Russian activity on the territory of Ukraine. However, Ukraine is not receiving intelligence on the preparation of missile strikes into its territory by Russia. So the really sick part is we're still not giving them information about when the Russian missiles are coming and where they're going. So Russia's missiles are coming in and hitting civilians. They're hitting apartment buildings. They're hitting hospitals. They're hitting schools. They're killing civilians. We know the missiles are coming. We know where the missiles are going. We know what's about to be hit, and we're not telling the Ukrainians because Donald Trump is angry at them. It's so immoral. It's so immoral. And it's frankly something Russia would do, and it's something Russia's allies would do. Sky News had an interesting quote today. One of the defense analysts on Sky News, or one of their defense reporters, was writing a piece today talking about all of this, and he referenced the West. Thank you, Liam. And he mentioned the West versus Russia, and the West traditionally has been Europe, America, Canada, right? And the West, I would also say the West, you could include Japan, maybe South Korea, even though they're not, in Australia, New Zealand, even though they're not the West, they're kind of the West. I would include them being, in other words, our bloc versus the Russian bloc, right, is the West. So he mentions the West versus Russia, and he says, he stops the Sky News reporter and says, if you can even use that term anymore because of the fact that the U.S. is now allied with Russia. And even he said it. And he said the U.S. is now allied with Russia. So I don't even know what we call the West anymore or honestly, I do know what you'd call it. The West still exists. The U.S. is no longer a member. That's the best way to put it. We are not a member of the West. If anything, we're not in the middle. We lean towards not even the East, whatever you call it. We lean towards the Kremlin. The West is Europe. The West is Canada. The West is Australia, New Zealand. Again, I'd say maybe Japan, South Korea too, right? In terms of our top allies. It's no longer the U.S., which is very scary. What else we got here? Couple more. Rubio said today, our Secretary of State said today, the U.S. military aid freeze could be resolved during talks with Ukraine this week. I mean, actually, you know what that sounds like? I mean, how could it be resolved? What is there to resolve? Trump just cut off aid to Ukraine, military aid. What does Rubio mean? It could be resolved during talks this week. What could they possibly discuss, the U.S. and Ukraine this week, that would lead to the U.S. turning military aid back on, other than Ukraine giving us a higher percentage of minerals that we're basically stealing from their mineral production, right? It doesn't make sense. What Rubio gets the sense that Ukraine really wants to negotiate and they turn the money back on? That's not it. That's not what's going on, right? I mean, that sentence alone really disturbs me. What else here? Oh, this was actually good news today. There was a big meeting in Paris today or tomorrow. I think hold on a second. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow, because also it's kind of weird when you read the news from Europe and America, because I never know whether when they say it's going to happen, was it news from earlier? I think this might be tomorrow. But military officials from more than 30 countries will take part in talks on the creation of an international security force for Ukraine. This according to a French military official. Such an international force would aim to dissuade Russia from launching another offensive after any ceasefire comes into play. The long list of participants in tomorrow's discussion in Paris, it's tomorrow, will also include Asian and Oceania nations. Oceania, I never use the term Oceania. Oceania, I assume we mean Australia, New Zealand. I'm going to guess. Is that what we mean? Literally, in American English, I have never heard the word Oceania or Oceania. Oceania? I've never heard that term used. I've heard of the term. I've never heard anybody use it. Okay, people are saying it is Australia, New Zealand. Oceania. Wow, crazy. But that's interesting. 30 countries, oceanic. Yeah, I've never heard it for the area. That's interesting. 30 countries, which is interesting. That's an interesting number. That's a good number. Well, yes, 1984 is when I've heard it. I wasn't going to mention 1984. 1984 is when I've heard it's used, the book. I've never heard it for legitimately used for Australia and New Zealand. I didn't want to make a comparison to 1984. Hold on, I'm going to turn my my fan on because it's getting a little warm. I'm going to have to actually. What I forgot about is I'm going to have to start probably. I'm going to have to start closing my curtains because the temperature's rising. It's 70. The temperature went up in here with the sunlight. I forgot about that. Oh well, we're back to that again. I'm going to stop with that. I'll stop with that news. That's enough for right now. All right, let's hang out, guys. I'm going to adjust my cameras so I can sit back and relax a little bit. My chapstick. All right. Oops, there we go. All right. There we go. Comfy. All right. So let's hang back. Do I have a curtain liner? I don't even have a curtain. The curtains I've got, that's not a curtain. Ironically, on TikTok, that's a throw for my couch. And I've got little suction cups with hooks on the wall. And when the summer comes, I have to hang it from the suction cups. It works, but it's annoying. You'll see. I also have, you're going to laugh, I also put a shirt on suction cups right here. Otherwise, the light comes in and it hits my camera. It's, what do you do? It's annoying, but yeah, I don't have, I do have these curtains that come and they're long slats and they're very annoying. So anyway, what do you do? I've got different cameras. I've got a camera for TikTok, a camera for YouTube and Discord over there. And then TikTok is over here, which is why you guys see me look back and forth. All right, let's talk questions, comments. Do you have issues from TikTok covering Ukraine news? I did. They were very bad 3 years ago. That's not really been the issue. The issue now with TikTok is covering Trump and American news. You have to be very careful. And I am. The statue behind me is not Mayan. I wish it were. The statue behind me is a Mexican statue, but it's not this one. It's not an artifact. I wish it were. It literally says made in Mexico on the bottom, but it's really pretty. It actually was in the lobby to the Citizens Bank in Washington, D.C. that closed down. Friend of mine, Sorka Brady, who I've told you guys, Irish lady, wonderful, wonderful gal in Dublin. I've been trying to locate Sorka forever just to say, because I love her, to say hi. Anybody knows of Sorka Brady in Ireland? But Sorka worked at Citizens Bank, and she, when the bank closed down, they let him take stuff. So we called her the goddess of fertility, this statue. And it's a beautiful statue, but made in Mexico. But it's not an artifact because it literally says made in Mexico. But anyway, it's nice. Twitter was hacked today. I did hear that Twitter was hacked. Elon was trying to claim it was the Ukrainians. I don't know who you're talking about, Gucci. Who posted a pink triangle? I don't know who you mean. Elon Sikorsky. Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Lal is saying there was a little blow up yesterday on Twitter between Elon Musk, Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, Radoslav Sikorsky, who's the he was defense minister once upon a time. He's now foreign minister of Poland. And Elon was talking about Starlink and some kind of a comment that seemed to suggest like, oh, we help Ukraine so much and they don't appreciate us. And it was almost like Elon was threatening to cut off Starlink or something. Sikorsky then jumped in, the foreign minister of Poland, and slapped down Elon. And Elon then got pissed off and responded and tried to blame and tried to get pissy with Sikorsky and called him, what did he call him? You're a small man. You're a small man. I've met Radoslav Sikorsky. He's not a small man. He's actually quite a scary man. I mean, he's a very stern, smart, strong individual that I would not want to mess with. I asked him a question once at an event. I was asked at a book event, and he scared me. He was good, but he was just like boom, 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 boom. Very smart guy. Very strong about standing up to the Russians, which is why Elon doesn't like him. And then Marco Rubio had to jump in to defend Elon because Elon was getting slapped down by the foreign minister of Poland. So anyway, Elon's kind of a mess. Elon's not even that old. I want to say, is he 49 or 50 or so? Elon looks a lot older. Alexa, how old is Elon Musk? My Alexa hates me. Alexa, how old is Elon Musk? 53, cat lady, it's claiming. Yeah. 53. Elon looks ancient. I mean, I'm a lot older than that. And I think I look better than Elon. Right? I mean, well, yeah, exactly. Things he does age him. Let's put it that way. He does not look good. He does not look good. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm convinced. Anybody who's out there will know what I'm talking about. Kara Swisher. Look at Kara Swisher and then look at Elon Musk. Tell me he's not trying to look like Kara Swisher. His face, the glasses. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a Kara Swisher thing going on. And he's having the plastic surgery, and next time you see him and her, you will put it together. It's Kara Swisher. Hey, Mustard, good to see you. Thank you for the gift. And Jonathan, would I go on Kara's podcast? Oh my God, would I? Are you kidding? I don't know that she'd have me on. I may not be important enough. I love Kara Swisher. She's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And no bullshit, which I like too. I like listening to people who are, and Google Kara Swisher with the sunglasses, by the way, that's the best one. I like people who are smart, intelligent, say things that I find interesting, say things that make me go, huh? And that's it. And I have to think about it, right? And that aren't too extreme, crazy, whatever, that's, I look way old. Honey, I don't even look close to as old as Elon. It's not even a question. I know you're a troll, but like, that's one of those things. I always tell people there's certain things you can't really attack people on. Like, I don't think I'm the most hottest guy in the world, but I don't have any issues about my looks. So when you say I look older than Elon, I just don't think about it. Please, honey, please, please, oh my God. But Kara, she's very smart. I don't like people who are so partisan that and partisan could be politically, it could be anything. It could be defending an industry where I just don't believe what they say. I believe what she says. Thank you, Adventures. I believe what she says. She's smart and she's no bullshit. She cuts to the chase. I find it very interesting. Yeah. Thank you, Adventures, for the gift. Well, that's the other, exactly, gone through. That's the other thing. Well, I think people try to go after you on looks and things because they think because people are insecure about their looks. So it's one of the things the trolls will do. You don't look, you have a big nose or whatever, because people, I mean, I don't get the nose thing, but people will, thank you. Speaking of looks, my dragon head. Oh, all right. I keep forgetting the dragons blow flame. But I told you, the one that gets me is people will, although they haven't tried it lately, but people who would try to be like, you're not very smart, you're dumb. And I'm kind of like, okay, because that's something I worry about every day. Like, okay. It just makes me laugh. Oh, hey, Casey Burns. You're back. I recognize your name. I don't recognize. Well, You know, it's funny. I recognize Casey Burns, but I also recognize your CB Whim as well. I don't put them together, but it's for a lot of you guys. I know like your name you use for your account, but I don't necessarily associate it with your real name. Like I know you as two different people, which is funny. Um, anyway, what else we got? What else we got? Hey, Brandy subscribed too. Thank you. Excellent. What else, guys? Gunther? No, you have a funny real name. I remember your real name. Every time I hear it, I go, huh? It's funny. It's totally unlike, I can't remember. It's not Cliff or Claude. I don't know what the hell. It's something that makes me laugh whenever I go, oh yeah. Two tankers crashed. I did not hear about that. Hey, I'm Eves from Nebraska. Another Tesla crashed today? Really? Or no, you mean Tesla crashed or the SpaceX crashed? Who am I talking to, Maria? I'm talking to you. And everybody who's here, 1,000 people on TikTok, several hundred on YouTube and Discord. The Tesla stock. Yes, I know that. The Tesla stock went down over 15% today and then dropped another 1 point something this evening, which was pretty funny as well. Oh, yeah, the Tesla stock dropped. I can adjust my light a little bit now. There we go. Some tanker ships. I did not see that. No. Oil tanker and a cargo ship. Okay, interesting. All right. Oh, what else? Are you yawning? Sorry, a little more yawning. Tesla is being investigated in Canada for fraud. Good. Yeah, stock market stuff was very bad. We started the show talking about the stock market dropping. It's very bad. I may do another video on this on TikTok. I mean, there is serious concern now about what's going on with the U.S. economy and whether we're going to have a recession this year now. Because Trump himself suggested we were going to have a recession this year. And Trump even more strangely suggested it was going to be his policies that caused it, which is crazy. Salut, Jean-Gérard. Bonjour. Aussi. Sasha's good. She's, as usual, asleep. She's actually asleep in her bed underneath. Often, no, I don't want to unplug this. It'll be hard. Often she's on the couch sleeping, but this time she's in the little bed under my chair. Well, what the hell? I can hear. YouTube, I can TikTok, or you're pretty there, you guys. She's underneath there. She's probably sideways the way I'm holding this, but you can see she's in her little bed. Chirp. There we go. Up, and I'll put the little microphone back in. There we go. Better microphone. But yeah, she's in her little bed under my desk today. Sometimes goes on the couch. You never know. What else? Yeah, Jenny Vance is complaining about being ambushed by protesters, and it looks like he lied. Jenny Vance was complaining this weekend. I was with my children, and protesters came up to me. And then people found the video, and they saw that JD Vance has a Secret Service protection. And the Secret Service protection was like way far away from his house. JD Vance went through the Secret Service protection up to the protesters with his kid. And then, of course, JD Vance, being JD Vance, complained, oh my God, the protesters confronted me when I was with my child. And it was like, no, you walked up to the protesters with your child. But also, here's another thought. I'm a little confused from the guy who lectured Europe 3 weeks ago about freedom of speech and the importance of freedom of speech and how Europeans don't understand freedom of speech, he claimed. What's the harm of your daughter seeing protesters? I'm a little confused about that, right? I mean, we don't normally hear that. People protesting on the street. Is that a bad thing? Why is that a bad thing? Right? I mean, I'm seriously, I'm trying to figure this out, like what the problem is here. You know? I mean, he's supposed to, not to mention, you're the vice president of the United States. You're arguably kind of a bad man. People have the right to protest you, and you don't get a get out of jail free card because you're out with your children. Sorry, because then you'll always be out with your children. But also, like I said, as long as they're not doing something obscene, I'm not sure what the problem is having the children see it. This is America. Freedom of speech is a good thing, as he claimed not 3 weeks ago, and now doesn't seem to like freedom of speech. Kind of interesting. What else we got? Oh, Nemo. Thank you, Annie. Appreciate the Nemo. I'm still yawning. I should be over my jet lag now. Now I think I'm just yawning because I'm yawning. Actually, we had the power go out last night for the first time in decades. DC, the power never goes out. One of the transformers blew up or something. I wouldn't touch coffee now. I could have had one a couple hours ago. Right now it's 7:00. I wouldn't dare touch coffee now. You know, you posted a video on TikTok, on Discord about the fish. I'll have to see. Daylight savings time. I don't know what it's called. I never know which time is daylight savings time, but yes, our clocks went ahead in most of America Saturday night. So it'll screw up the time. Oh, that's right. Anybody who's new, if you just arrived, we've been doing this for an hour. My nose is still clogged from this cold or whatever it is. Oh, sorry. Anyway, UK goes forward on the 31st. Oh, that's interesting. I am not up on the Wisconsin's having another Supreme Court election. Oh God, Elon's involved. Oh no. I mean, I know in previous years we've heard a lot about the Wisconsin Supreme Court elections. That I know about, but I didn't know there was one coming up and Elon's involved. Honestly, I don't see. The problem is I don't think there's any laws. You guys need to rein him in your countries. In this country, it's very hard to pass laws that rein in political spending, because it's guaranteed under the Constitution, this kind of crap, or the Supreme Court says so. But, the Greek government collapsed because it was the largest employer. I'm not sure what that means, Skippy. Tell me more. My nephew's going to Greece in a couple days. Make sure everything's not a mess. Eli should not be involved in our government, but he is. Yes, and Ontario did put a 25% tax on electricity exported to the USA and says they could double it in a few weeks. That happened today. It affects about 1.5 million Americans who actually get their electricity from Canada. They're in Michigan. Help me out here. Michigan, Minnesota, and maybe New York State. I'm forgetting the others, the third state. Michigan, Minnesota, and somewhere else. But yeah, the Canadians said, you know what? New York, it is New York. Okay, Carol. The Canadians said, you know what? We're increasing energy prices 25%. Sorry. And they should. They should do all of that. Do I think Ukraine will be forced into signing a bad deal? Yes, I do, Chris. No, absolutely. I mean, the U.S. has now threatened them. I mean, if the U.S. cuts off everything within a few months, Ukraine will be in trouble. They don't have a choice now. Now, having said that, Biden, I still fault Biden. I mean, Trump, forget it, right? There's no question there. But I still fault Biden for this. We've talked about this a lot in the past, haven't explained it lately, so I can explain it again. But Biden, the French and the Germans are largely to blame for why Ukraine is going to come out of this very badly in these negotiations. Trump is to blame as well, because Trump didn't want to help Ukraine at all, right? And he's, as we saw, Trump totally undercut the Ukrainians, cut off all their aid. The Republicans cut off aid for 6 months in Congress, much worse than Biden, the French, and the Germans. But Biden, the French, and the Germans, from the beginning, were afraid of supporting Ukraine fully. They were afraid, oh my God, thank you, Mike, for the gift. Oh my God, the Russians have nuclear weapons. They'll get mad. Oh my God, let's not give Ukraine tanks. Let's not give Ukraine Patriot missiles. Let's not give them cluster bombs. Let's not give them, I mean, the list goes on, and airplanes. The list goes on and on and on of things we didn't want to give Ukraine because we were afraid the Russians would get mad. And so we went very slowly. And then we slowly gave them more weapons and slowly gave them better weapons. And it took us about a year to finally say, okay, we'll give you tanks. Oh, but it'll take 6 months to get to those tanks. Oh, and we've decided over a year into the war that we'll give you planes, but it's going to take another year to give you those planes. I mean, everything was so drawn out that by the time Ukraine got a lot of the weapons it needed, Russia had already dug in. It was too late. The big counteroffensive that Ukraine had, a year and a half ago now, was destined to lose. The military experts said Ukraine cannot win this counteroffensive without adequate air power. Ukraine does not have adequate air power. We did not give Ukraine adequate air power, right? Ukraine does the counteroffensive anyway. They have to delay, by the way. They had to delay the counteroffensive by like 6 months or something because NATO dragged its feet on giving Ukraine the tanks it needed and other vehicles, because of the Germans, because of the French, because of the Americans. I mean, we were all bad before. The French are better now. The Germans are better now, ish, right? But all of us were terrified of pissing off the Russians. And we let the Russians dig in. So the counteroffensive gets delayed. The Russians get 6 months to dig in, and boy, do they dig in, meaning they literally dig trenches and make it impervious so the Ukrainians cannot kick them out. Well, what happened? The Ukrainians couldn't kick them out because the Russians had time to give in because we dragged our feet giving the Ukrainians weapons. And then we didn't give the Ukrainians the air support they need. We didn't give them the planes they needed in order to support the counteroffensive. So the counteroffensive was a bust. And everyone, all the defense experts told us the counteroffensive is likely not going to go well without the air support. So, we're in the situation now where Ukraine is going to probably have to agree to some pretty bad stuff because Biden screwed them, the French screwed them, and the Germans screwed them. And now Trump is screwing them, and the Republicans in Congress screwed them. So that was all Biden, the French, and the Germans, though, because Biden was also trying to keep the French and the Germans happy. But Biden himself was, oh my God, World War III. It'll be World War III. We don't want to anger the Russians. And Biden was always so freaking worried about Putin, So very scary stuff. Anyway. Well, I doubt TikTok deleted my followers. People are saying my followers disappeared. I'm sure it's a TikTok glitch. I doubt they deleted my followers. So I'll go look, but typically they don't do that. Oops. I got somebody talking here. What to be sure? Beep, 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 beep. Oh, everything's gone. Yeah, hopefully it's not my followers. Well, no, because it shows me not following anybody too. So I'm going to guess it's a combination. Yeah. I'm sure it's, Ashley said, check out Discord chat. I can try to check out Discord chat. Actually, Ashley just texted me. I can't check out Discord chat without possibly leaving the Discord show that I'm in. Just text me. Wait, it literally unfollowed me? No way. You guys had to refollow me? Get out of here. It better not be the case. But it also stopped me from following anybody. Yeah, Ashley messaged me about what's going on. Oh, that's crazy. Well, refollow me, folks, but that's insane. Okay, now you got me scared. No, I'm going to assume this is a glitch. This is clearly going to be a glitch. I'll ask around about it, but I'm sure it's a glitch. Because also, okay, good. Smug Chipmunks, other people, check all of your followers too. I'm going to guess that all of you lost your followers as well. Take a look. Because Smug just told me she lost all of their followers too. Just take a look. Have you all lost all of your followers as well? Everybody on TikTok, check your account. How many followers do you have? Yeah, you all have. Okay. So that's okay. Yeah, we're okay. It's a TikTok glitch. I'm not worried about it. They'll have to go back in their servers and fix it. That's kind of messed up though. Yeah. Yeah, I lost my followers and following. I'm not following anybody. Basically, they lost everybody. Actually, I do have a little TikTok Discord server I follow. Let me just see. Hold on. I think I can, on my iPad, I can go on, I think. Let me see. See if people are talking about it there. That's kind of scary. A little scary. Let's see. Oops. Okay, not there. Here, maybe. Yep. Is TikTok down for everyone or just me? It shows 0 everything. 0 followers and subscribers for everybody I know. And I'm going to CC somebody. CC, 1 second here. Sorry, guys, I'm sending a message to somebody. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, it's happening to everybody. I wouldn't be too worried about it for that reason. So, not a problem. Huh. Interesting. Oh, I guess I should check that. All right, anyway, I'm saving a picture here. I think we're okay. Yeah. Oh, are they back now? It's been happening for months. This is clearly a glitch. Yeah, something's wrong with TikTok. Some server went down or something happened. Yeah, it's okay, guys. Don't worry about it. I mean, it's not okay, but since it's happening everywhere, I'm not too worried about it. Right? I think it'll come back. Yep. Oh, I see that gone through. Yeah, it's gone. I checked it out. It's gone. But it's gone for everybody, which means it'll come back. Yeah, but it's not working. So if you refollow me, it's not going to actually follow. Oh, I never noticed it before, but something went down clearly, which is not good. That's interesting. Whether it is the servers with the buyer or something, who knows, right? Who knows? TikTok knows this is happening because it's happening to everybody. I wouldn't worry about it. I worry about it, but I think it's going to come back. Blame Russia. I blame Ukraine. I blame Biden. I blame Biden and Obama. Right? Biden and Obama. Oh my God. Anyway. Ooh la 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 la. So I got a question, folks. Since we've been talking for over an hour now, usually this part of the show we hang out, we talk about whatever. I've got a ChatGPT question. So I've been using ChatGPT. I'm putting together like a family history of our family in Greece, and I've got a lot of documents, and I've put them all together, created a source of creating an essay about our family history, and I'm finding increasingly on ChatGPT that every time I add like a new paragraph, it deletes something. And then, like total craziness, it claims it didn't delete it. And I'm like, you literally deleted the paragraph on this ancestor. No, I didn't. Like, what are you doing? It's pissing me off. But I don't know if anybody knows ChatGPT as to what the hell's going on. It doesn't, it's really bad. It started doing it yesterday, but it's crazy. It's a gaslight simulator. Exactly. It's crazy today. I literally add a new, but a limited memory. I don't have that much stuff in there. It's literally like 2 pages of text. I pay for the pro plan. That's what I'm paying for. I've got the paid. I've got the $20 a month plan. It's a couple pages. Okay, with the paid plan, there's no way that 2 pages is too much data. There's no way in hell. Something's going on. I don't know what's going on. But it literally goes, okay, I haven't deleted anything. I'm like, you just did. Yeah, the discount one. Anyway, it's upsetting me because I wrote to them. They wrote back and said, try a couple different things. And I'm like, yeah, the $200 a month plan. Sure. Yeah. I'm not paying $200 a month. But yeah, Thomas, you're going to do the same thing. It literally, I go, add this paragraph. Don't delete anything else. It adds the paragraph and deletes something else. Sometimes deleting many things. And I'm like, what are you doing? No, I don't. I'm hoping it's a glitch because also when they wrote me back, although the AI probably wrote me back, I see the followers are back. That's good. I don't know. It's kind of pissing me off. Yeah. But anyway. But it's freaking me out because it's been very useful. And now I'm going, this is not useful. It's going to, this is actually horrific what it's doing in terms of the quality. This is very bad that it's deleting people. So we'll see. It's annoying me though, because I'm DeepSeek. Is that the freaking Chinese one? Are you out of your mind? Seriously? I hope that's not the Chinese one. You guys are out of your minds using the Chinese one. It'll be a cold day in hell before I use a Chinese AI and start dumping all of my information into it. That's insane. It was bad enough you guys all signed up for that Chinese app that I was trying to tell you don't do. Now you're signing up for a Chinese AI because you want it to take over your world. Thank you, Macabre. Do not. Hey, Mikey. Yeah, that's my whole point. I'm on TikTok right now. We've had all the problems with TikTok being a Chinese app. So people were like, go join a different Chinese app because that'll solve the problem of being on a Chinese app. How? But also TikTok is not an AI. An AI way more complicated. The information you're giving it and everything else. I don't know. I haven't seen the ship crash impacts in UK waters. I've not seen anything on that, Simon. I didn't see anything. I'm not building a family tree. I'm building an essay on the family history going back hundreds of years in Greece. That requires AI, or it requires a hell of a lot of work of writing and everything. But the AI did an initial one that was good. And then, like I said, it was good at first, and now it's deleting stuff as if it did hit a memory limit, except that of course it's like maybe 3 pages. There's not that much. I mean, 2 or 3 pages it can handle, right? Especially the $20 a month version. But yeah, I'm not touching. I may try Twitter's AI. Shh, don't tell anybody. But there's no way. I may cancel if it keeps doing this. I may just cancel. I'm like, this sucks. This is kind of shitty, actually. Like, it shouldn't be doing. I mean, come on, ChatGPT. It shouldn't be screwing up this bad. And I love when it goes, I didn't delete anything, John. And I'm like, okay, Dave, really? Really? Anyway, container ship crash. Okay. I will look it up. Say a smug. Anyway, la. It literally is. It's like my family's from Greece. No, I'm not going to give the details here publicly. Kukla. Just cause. Yeah, that's what it exactly does. The same thing. Exactly. It says, here's the version without deleted information, or my favorite, I've incorporated the information. I'm like, it's literally not there. How do you say your name on here? Aravosis is my last name. Well, because I'm American. So we say Aravosis. It is officially Aravosis in Greek. But for Americans, we say Aravosis. So, yes, I can't let you have that paragraph, Dave. The tanker had cyanide on it? Get out of here. Are you serious, Simon? Or no? No, I will say Sasha's been doing a little better because now she's on an hour later, which is good. So that's a little bit better. No TikTok updates? Oh, you mean potassium cyanide. Oh, that's the same one, isn't it? Or sodium cyanide, the bad one. Actually, potassium cyanide can't be any better once it breaks apart into its components. All right, let me look here. Cargo ship? That just sounds very scary. Hold on. Cargo ship and cyanide. Let me see. Cargo ship cyanide. Okay, that's scary. Wow. A cargo ship that smashed into a U.S. A cargo ship that smashed into a U.S. military chartered oil tanker off the northeast coast of England on Monday was carrying sodium cyanide. Jesus. And crashing into a military thing, that's a little weird, right? A Portuguese flag container ship called Solong careened into the oil tanker, which was at anchor in the North Sea about 10 miles off the English coastline. All but one of the 14 crew members was brought to safety. Extensive search. Oh God, so one crew member died, it looks like. A total of 36 patients, was carrying an unknown quantity of alcohol and 15 containers of sodium cyanide. Sodium cyanide releases a highly toxic hydrogen cyanide gas that interferes with the body's ability to use oxygen. Okay, that's just scary. Wow. That's kind of freaky. I mean, wow. I mean, huh. Wow. Okay, that's really freaky. That sounds like a hell of a coincidence. That's a hell of a coincidence. That's very weird. You know? I don't know. I mean, you kind of wonder if the Russians hacked the tanker and drove it into the Americans, because I'm sorry, it drove into a tanker that was leased by the American military and it had cyanide. I mean, cyanide alone sounds like the Russians as far as that stuff with them, you know? Wow. Interesting. Huh. Fascinating. Oops. Goodbye, Dave. What are you doing? Come in here, you. Come on in. Join me. Thank you. Yeah, very weird glitch. That's a very weird story. It sounds like jamming. It's possible it's just something that happened on its own, but it sounds awfully, Sasha, it sounds awfully strange. Yeah. Could have happened on its own, but that's pretty weird. You know, interesting. Reese. So a bunch of people weren't following all of a sudden, but that's back now. You guys said, right? The follower numbers are back. It's back. Okay. But people do say that I've had people I've unfollowed on Twitter too, that I've been like, I did not unfollow these people. Like somebody, I forgot who, but like people I definitely follow. And I'm like, wait a minute, how the hell am I not following you? But thank you, Nailadia for the Snowflake Kitchen. Hello, Northeast Texas, Kevin. The tanker was anchored. The Portuguese ship went into it perpendicularly. The tanker was anchored, but it says it was anchored like 10 miles offshore or something. So kind of weird. The story is very weird on every level. A lot of you guys are unfollowed. Well, I hope it didn't screw up let me see how many followers I've got. Hopefully it didn't screw that up. I thought I was at 750 or something. Am I still? Well, if still, no, it's got the right number though. 757 is about where I was at. I don't remember exactly, but that sounds close. 757. It's close at least. I think that's right. I don't know. Weird. Yeah. I mean, that's around where I was. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully it didn't screw things up like an oil tanker off of Britain. Yes. Thank you for refollowing. So yes, I'll do a last little push here on TikTok. Do follow me if you don't follow me. I do the show every night, Monday to Friday, 6:00 Eastern time, US. We talk about Trump, latest there, and then we talk about the latest from Ukraine. I'm a long-term US political expert, writer, lawyer, I've done political activism too here in Washington, D.C. for about 40 years now. So I know things. I try to share them with you about what's going on in politics. So there you go. I have a cute dog. Oh, no, she's not back there right now. Oh, she's wandering somewhere. Maybe she went on the couch. Anyway, all right, guys. I think I may call it quits shortly. We've got almost an hour and a half. I need to go and update my Discord settings too, because like I said, it's the wrong time for all the shows now. It never updated it after the time change. So I will change that. Latest reports on chemical warfare? Oh, I don't know. Anita Bryant, Sobo, just died, I think. She was an American singer in the early 1970s who was very anti-gay and got very upset that they were, I believe, God, remind me, either they were trying to pass pro-gay laws, or she was trying to get a pro-gay law repealed, or she was upset at the gays. And either she was trying to get stuff repealed that was protecting gays, or she was trying to get stuff passed that was harming gays. Like that, I kind of want to feel it was harming gays. Gunther, any of you guys remember? But she became the spokesperson for these religious right anti-gay people. I mean, super anti-gay, and became their spokeswoman. And she was a huge singer at the time. And of course, her reputation went down the drain with at least maybe, if not half the country, a large percent of the country. There's a famous scene of her doing an anti-gay press conference, and a gay guy comes up with a pie and hits her in the face with a pie at the press conference. Google it. It's amazing. Actually, I'll Google it right now. Florida orange juice. That's right. She had the contract promoting Florida orange juice. And did she lose that? She must have lost it because she was so controversial. I mean, her career was destroyed as a result of this. So that's why she's super famous. So it was an example of somebody, destroying. Okay, where Anita Bryant pie. Let me see here. All right, here's a TikTok. Oh, here, TikTok. I can show you the TikTok. That'll work probably.
If we were going to go on a crusade across the nation and try to do away with the homosexuals, then we certainly would have done it on June the 8th after one of the most overwhelming victories.
Oop, the sound cut out.
We tried to avoid it and went into a place called Norfolk, Virginia, and were met with protest and... And every.
See that?
Security agent, security agent. No, let him stay.
No.
Let him stay.
Well, at least it's a fruit pie.
Let's pray for him right now. Anita?
If we were going to go on a crusade across the nation and try to do away
I mean,
with the home.
she goes, at least it was a fruit pie. Fruit was, I mean, it probably still is, but it's not used anymore. It was a slur for gay people. So that appears to be why she said at least it was a fruit pie. Or maybe she wasn't trying to make the slur. Who knows? But yes, that is the infamous Anita Bryant. Yes. And I mean, it's a famous, this was 19, I don't even know, 73 maybe. Super famous. Yeah. Oh, well, don't mess with the gays. Russian ships keep coming into the North Sea and being escorted out. They're screwing around. I mean, they're doing two things. Three things maybe. One, they're trying to be obnoxious. They're just being obnoxious. Two, they're testing you. They're trying to test the response time to see how quickly does it take you to respond when they enter your waters, because that's preparation. You know, at some point, if there's a war, it's good to know. Oop, the dog just walked by. If there's a war, at some point, it's good to know what the response time is. How long will we have once we enter waters to get away with it? The third thing, well, no, the third thing is the first thing. They're doing it just to be scary and obnoxious. The dog wants water. Give me a quick second to give her water. 1 sec. You want more water? Seriously? 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 All right. All right. Yeah, they're just doing it to be rude. They're doing it to be scary. They're doing it to just, you know, they're especially the Brits. The Russians have always had a thing about the Brits, and even more so now. They can't stand the Brits. I think they're jealous. It's clearly a jealousy thing, but it's a weird, like I said, it's a weird jealousy thing that I told you, I always like to quote Ayn Rand with this, because one of her books had a character that was like she always had strong female characters, and she had a strong female character, or Ayn Rand, I guess you're supposed to say it. And there was a man who didn't like this woman, and the woman didn't like the man. But the man was very weak. The woman was very strong. Thank you, Martin. And the man says to her at one point, you know, God damn it, why won't you tell me what you think of me? And she responds, but I don't think of you. And I think that's very much Russia's relationship with much of the world. They think they're in competition with us. No, they're not. They think they're in competition with the Brits in some way. No, they're not. Right? It's that school that says, oh, our big competitor is your school. And you go, no, you're not. Like, we don't think of you as a big competitor, right? That's the situation with the Russians. I really think there's this weird, they think they're somewhere on, first they think they're on our level. They're certainly not that, right? I mean, they've got nuclear weapons. That's it. They got a big military, not as good as ours. Nuclear weapons, same as ours, more or less. Their economy sucks compared to ours. Their culture, we still have cultural dominance around the world. The Russian culture doesn't go anywhere other than North Korea, right? It doesn't go anywhere around the world. And the Brits, the same thing. I mean, the Brits, yeah, militarily, they're bigger than you. Economically, what's the size of the British economy compared to the Russian economy? It's a good ChatGPT question if it weren't screwing up. Anybody, what's the comparison in size? I can ask Alexa, but she's bad at these things. Alexa, which economy is bigger, the British economy or the Russian economy? Ooh. You're right. The UK is bigger. Okay. So the UK economy, which I'm not surprised, I guess, the UK economy is bigger than the Russian economy. UK culture, again, all over the world, right? Oh, the dog is doing her goofy little spin thing behind me in front of her bed. Oh, I think she heard me talking about her. She likes to go down and kind of like rub her head on the ground and stuff. She started doing it a second ago. It was very funny. Oh, and she's back now. That was it. You got the quick little dog moment. But culturally too, the Brits have the kind of influence the Americans have in many ways. I mean, we may have a little bit more because of our TV shows and stuff, but still British television, British music, British culture overall, very dominant worldwide. I would say more than the Russians. Oh my God, right? It's not even a comparison. Russians have no cultural dominance at all around the world, but they think somehow they're competitors of yours or something, or equals or something. And like, I mean, what British person goes, oh yeah, when I think of what countries in the world are similar to us, I think of Russia. I mean, come on, right? Like, come on. But they just hate the Brits, just hate you guys. But they've just got a bug up their butt about you, and I don't know what it is. Yeah, I mean, France and the Brits in some ways, right? Because you guys have a rivalry, so to speak, and your rivalry also goes back 1,000. That's my French. 1,000+ years, probably. I mean, right? So, like, sure, France and Germany as well. Yeah, right. But Russia. But yeah, so they're always trying to tweak the Brits. They're always pissed at you. Now the problem is the Russians will be screwing around with the Brits even more now, because of the U.S. now siding with Russia. So now they think America isn't going to come to your defense, or might not come to your defense. So they probably will screw around with you a lot more, unfortunately. But as for Russian culture, Ellen, that may be what you're getting at. That was a very long time ago. Tolstoy and Dostoevsky, was that a couple hundred years, right? I mean, ballet, okay. But let's face it too. You don't hear about the Russian ballet anymore. Thank you, Blue, I did not see you sent a sub. But the other ones, forget it. That's a couple hundred years ago. That's nice. But if you've got to point to something you did 150 years ago to say your culture is great, then your culture isn't that great. And as for, like I said, ballet, okay. But you don't hear about Russian ballet ever, right? You used to. Russian ballet is nothing compared to what it used to be, right? Baryshnikov, Nureyev, all those guys. Now it's like, thank you, Christina, for that. So yeah, Russian culture is nothing like it used to be. And let's face it too. Did anybody out there actually read Dostoevsky? Seriously? I mean, some of you may have, but really? Like, I haven't read any of these guys. Or who was the other one you mentioned? Yeah, Tolstoy. I mean, have you actually read War and Peace? No, a couple of you may have, but War and Peace, really? I mean, come on, right? Tolkien, yeah, I've read Tolkien. The Hermitage was a nice museum. Yeah, that's nice. But I've not read Nabokov either. I'm sure, Flower Lady, you're smart. I'm not surprised. Some people have, but I'm saying it's not like it's a wide. Jeffrey's read War and Peace. Geek. Anyway. Isn't War and Peace the one that's like 1,000 pages? I'm forgetting. Which is the one? I think it's War and Peace, right? Anyway. Tolkien was British, of course. Yes. You had to read War and Peace at school? Oh my God. I can't even imagine. I just remember it being huge and I was like, oh no. No. The Art of War, I've read some of that, yes. Your son has a degree in politics studies in Russia? Okay, fair enough. Well, yeah, I mean, it's probably a good thing to have read it. Obviously, I'm not opposed to reading, but I never have. So anyway, it's huge news in the UK. Roland says the tanker. I mean, it's pretty scary. I had not heard about it, but then again, it depends, right? I was looking at news about Trump and Ukraine today. I didn't have CNN on. Usually I have CNN on. I didn't have CNN on today. So that's probably why I didn't see an update. So I'm making you yawn. Sorry. Okay, guys, I'm going to go. It's been an hour. It's been an hour and 40 minutes. This is usually where I call it quits anyway. So no more yawning. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Last little pitch to follow me on TikTok if you haven't yet. But I'll be back tomorrow, 6:00 Eastern time, US. Thank you for joining TikTok, Discord, and YouTube. And thank you for the gifts, and thank you for the mods, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for the follows and everything else. But I will be Kalinita. Exactly. Thank you, Kukla. Karisto. Kisses. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night. All right. And of course, check out the videos anyway. Like I said, I always do a couple of videos. I try to do a couple of videos on YouTube every day, and I certainly do a couple on TikTok. So check those out. And then I do the show at night. So, and I'm going to go change right now on Discord so it's got the right time on there. Anyway, so remember, America changed its time. It's 7:40 in America, or 7:38 in America right now at night. So our time changed. Thank you, climate educator. Rob. Oh, Rob, I didn't see the first part. Thank you, Rob. I wouldn't call climate educator. I can use your name. All right, guys, have a good night. I'll start signing off here. Let's see. I guess I can do Discord first. I've got like multiple things I've got you guys on here. Discord, and then I'm going to look at, and then I'm going to see if I can fix my ChatGPT problem. All right. Discord is off. That's one. YouTube, boom. All right. And then TikTok.